Hello and welcome to Stag Field as we're about to get underway for the NCAA second round of the men's soccer tournament between the University of Chicago Maroons and the Carleton College Knights. The Knights coming off a win yesterday against Transylvania in which they scored at the very trailing seconds of the first half Spencer Whedon's goal, one of their substitutes, finding some space just outside the box and curling one into the right corner to give their team a 1-0 lead and ultimately a lead that they'd be able to hold no problem through the second half. So they enter here, the Chicago Maroons coming off a bye themselves. So they're on fresh legs, played last Saturday in a win at WashU. Hi everyone, I'm Sean Ahmed. My broadcast mate today, Rishi Chopra. How you doing today, Rishi?
Great, happy to be here, Sean.
We're excited to get going here on the turf, under the lights, and see these two teams play. Both teams excellent defensive teams, and we'll talk a little bit more about that and place the players on the field as we go along here. But first, to give you the starting lineups in numerical order for the Maroons. Their goalkeeper is Aaron Katsampoulos, Sam Droblos, Isaiah Holquist, Nico Capitosto, Renato Corgi, Max Lopez, and Matthew Coe, those two being their two dynamic forwards who once again have been leading the team in goals. Vincent Matus and Nate Johnson, and finally Carter Romero and Scott Lick. It's the Chicago lineup. I'll get you in just a second Carleton's full lineup. They appear to be playing in a 4-4-2 as they'll be kicked off by the Maroons to their center back, played straight up the right channel, stopped, and will wind up back on the right side. Lopez giving a little bit of chase, and Coe kicked out of play, and Chicago will have a throw here in the opening seconds. I get you Carleton's lineup going left to right in defense. They have Saring, Pearson, Coling, and Roth. Roth, their right back and the conference player of the year, setting up a lot of their scoring chances this season for the Knights. In midfield going left to right, you have Bashadi, Rubin, Hall, and Wanzillo. And then finally up top, Beerley and Dacuna. And then finally in net, Foreman. So there are your two lineups for the teams as Chicago plays it long, headed back at midfield where it'll be a throw-in for the Maroons. Thrown in to Corgi. Cleared away again. Throw in. Sent into the middle. Long ball played up the right side. That's going to find the feet of Coe. Or pardon me. Well, cross. Header. Saved. That was Lick who sent the cross from the right side.
Yeah, brilliant run from Lick. He really got in behind, and that could be something that we want to look forward to for the rest of this match.
Punt to midfield. We drop back into the defense. Droblos playing it onto his left, then to his right. Chips it forward, in towards the D, well up by the Carleton defense. Here's Coe, settling it down, battling for it. Romero, outside the left of the box. Sent back into the defense as the Maroons will reset it to midfield with Johnson. Now with the right back, Droblos. Line drive into the D, well struck but easily headed away. Now Droblos is going to receive and be under some pressure. Good pressing by Boshadi, but well handled by Droblos, who uses his keeper Katsampoulos in order to get away. Katsampoulos again. Droblos tells him to look afield. Back on the left side again. So we're in just the 4th minute of play. No score between Chicago and Carleton. Early chance on goal by the Maroons. Good cross in that was headed right to the keeper. As that's going to be sent out of play and for a Carleton throw.
So far in the early going, it looks like the Maroons are trying to utilize this right-hand side and focusing all their play down that channel.
As this is going to be with Katzimpalis now. Part of that might be our bias, Rishi, that's the best lit side, as opposed to the far side of the field.
They're really helping us out.
Yep. On the Maroons' defense. Well handled by Johnson as it was skipping on him a bit. Sent it over the left side, and Carleton able to take possession back. Chicago ensuring they make a bit of a mess of it. Chipped forward by the Knights, headed up. As that's going to be cleared away by Capitosto. Fifth minute of play, no score. An NCAA tournament, 2nd round. The Knights dispatching with Transylvania yesterday, 1-0. The Maroons coming off a bye. 3rd-ranked team in the nation and last year's Final Four team. Foul called against the Maroons, it looks like. About 20 yards, 25 yards up the right sideline. So this will be sent in by the Knights. They have 5 starting laterally along the D. Taken. Deflected up and then cleared away by Chicago. Pumped back in by Carleton. Turning header by the Knights. Taken down by the Maroons and cleared away. The cross in was from Bashotti, or the little entry pass. The Maroons able to handle it under some pressure and get it out of their own box. Katzimpalis for the Maroons, sends it over to Drablos. Steps into it, sends it long. Headed up well by Carleton, returned by Lopez. Turning with it is Coe into the corner, cross, header, saved.
And that was brilliant skill by Coe to bring the ball down and turn and then deliver a wonderful ball.
Rishi, a 2nd time the Maroons have been able to get a good cross in there and have a pretty solid opportunity, a header at the doorstep of the goal. They just haven't been able to kind of get it to the size of the keeper so far.
Yep, but that right-hand side and those crosses in have been dangerous.
7th minute, no score. That header again was by Lopez. You can see already how Coe and Lopez are able to connect with each other and why they're such a dangerous duo for this team. Drablos has been active in possession so far. Sent over to the left side. Ball played long, headed back by the Knights and their central defender. This looks like, say, sent long. Johnson. Send it out towards the sideline. And ends up with Katzimpalis. We'll switch it over to the right side. Drablos now. Back to his keeper. 8th minute, no score. Long ball up the right side. Was looking for Lick. Man down for the Maroons. That was Lopez. Referee says nothing doing and then blows his whistle. It'll be a free kick in a dangerous position for the Maroons, Rishi. Just about 30 yards away.
30, yep.
This is going to be taken by Coe. Also lining up along with him is Capitosto. Ko will run past Capitosto, curls it in towards the spot, headed away. Now drop back by Capitosto for Johnson, who scrambles to get it, gets it back to Capitosto. His ball is deflected, and Carleton looking to counter now. And pushing on nicely to Boschati. Switched over to the right side and out of the reach of Lanzillo on that far right side. So the Maroons start it up, and they'll have it with Drabos. Drabos slips. He would recover his footing and get it back to his keeper. Now Johnson. Which you can see how wide the Maroons spread their defense when they have the ball.
Oh, yeah. And another thing they've done well so far is when they've lost possession, they've done a good job of turning it right back over.
And recovering, yeah. So far, pretty even bout in a lot of ways, though it has been the Maroons that have had the two best scoring chances so far. Both headers by Max Lopez that were saved by the keeper Foreman of the Knights. 50-50 battle here. Lick able to win it against Boschati. Corgi turning up the right sideline without much space. Carleton able to get back, looking for some space in the middle. Return to Dacuna. On the left side now, Sering. And that's going to be taken away by the Maroons as they start racing forward. It's Matus who's going to receive this, racing forward down the left side. It looks like he has a step on his defender, going shoulder to shoulder with him. But it will be the defender, and I believe that's Roth who won it and able to clear away. The Maroons now shot to the near post, saved.
Yep, brilliant decisive ball there. And that's the first time we've been able to see UChicago on the counterattack, and they look pretty fast. Those fresh legs.
It was Romero with that shot for the Maroons there from about 15 yards out. 3 solid shots so far on net, but each time Foreman on the spot to save them. Carleton's throw, taken away by Holquist.
Aggressive defenders.
Dropped off by Lopez towards the left sideline. Lopez again. Now in the middle with Capitosto. Distributes to the right side to Lick. Just crossing half field. Now Drabos looking up. Matus dropping it back into the left channel. Corey to the left sideline. The Maroons just possessing around right side to left side. Drabos taking some space forward to him, floating it nicely in towards the 6, bounces down, shot on the doorstep. It's going to be crossed in, deflected, and then cleared away. It looks like it might have gone out. Either that or, and see if the referee called it as a goal kick, yeah. 13th minute, scoreless so far. Foreman takes the goal kick. Headed straight up. Another header again, returned by the Maroons' Capitosto. Corgi trying to settle, wound up in a collision and called for the foul as he ended up taking down Lanzillo. So it'll be Carleton's free kick from the front of the center circle. And it looks like it's going to be taken by Pearson. Play towards the top right corner of the box. Headed straight up a few times by the Maroons, and a nice last one out. And then volleyed forward, and it's going to be a foot chase for Chicago. It's Ko racing onto it, turning with it, entering towards the D. Still got a couple guys to beat who are pushing him further away. He turns onto his left foot. Shot towards the far post is blocked, and it's going to be ultimately cleared away, but only so far as Capitosto. Another entry by him, and then a foul against the Maroons on a trip, but the Maroons there almost sprung it with Ko, Rishi.
Yeah, again, a really quick counterattack, and Ko almost beat 2 defenders and was still able to collect the ball and get off a nice turn and shot.
Is that free kick? And we played well into the Maroons' half. Rishi, that also started on kind of a sequence of headers and volleys out from the Maroons' own box. And then Ko with some individual brilliance at the end to really take it on its own, but quite a sequence leading up to it.
Yeah, a little head tennis.
15th minute, no score. Capitosto over to the left side. Chicago's defense, especially their central defenders, active in possession so far. Trabos receives, takes a touch and another. Plays it on to Ko. Ko cutting in laterally. Centers. This is Matus. Cross. Looking for Lopez. Header wide. Great run in from the far side. Well-placed header. Just had enough of a defender and a body on him. They couldn't get it on net, Rish.
Yeah, this is looking really dangerous for Carleton. It looks like almost every possession is ending with a UChicago shot, and they're having a lot of problems generating anything of their own.
Here now the Chicago defense with Johnson. Man on his back is just going to get a throw out of it, I believe. Rishi, we mentioned earlier before too that Carleton had just played yesterday against Transylvania, full 90 minutes, and while they really controlled a lot of the pace of that match, still this is going to be one where, especially on a fast surface like this, they're going to have to be able to pace themselves over the 90 minutes and do the best they can to keep this game under their control and at their pace.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wonder if that was in the back of their minds at the end of that game, kind of maybe keeping a little in the tank.
Certainly, they did a great defensive job preventing Transylvania from scoring or taking a single shot in the second half. Free kick for the Knights. Roth will take it. Coming over from right back, and mentioned their Conference Player of the Year. Beautifully taken free kick, headed up back towards the Maroons' net, where Katsampoulos is up to get it.
And you can see why so many of their goals go through Roth. That was a brilliant delivery.
They didn't really directionalize very well, you know?
Chicago now switching over to the right side.
That's not an easy place to take a shot. That's usually if they...
Trabos, again being afforded plenty of space, and as the game's gone on, been more and more willing to take it. Switches it back to the left side. Send up to Matus. Ball lost. And now small sequence of passes for the Knights has gotten it from right to left. Straight up, dummied on. It's going to be with Ruben. Looking back up the sideline to DeCuna, but it'll be Chicago's throw. DeCuna and Ruben trying to exchange a little sequence there. Pop straight up by the Maroons defense. Glancing header. And ultimately a Carleton throw. Still scoreless, 18th minute. Sering with the throw for the Knights. It's DeCuna. The defender right on him. Referee says no legal contact as he almost went tumbling down. Right mid. Making his way up the sideline. Stops on a dime. Drops it off. Crossed in. Popped up by the Chicago defense. And ultimately pushed away just the littlest bit. Carleton kept trying to run onto it, but ultimately wasn't able to get a handle, and Chicago will look to alleviate some of the best sustained pressure that the Knights have really put on them in this first half.
Yeah, absolutely. That was their best sequence.
Centering ball, no one there for Chicago. Be Rubin. Up the right channel. Taken by Johnson of the Maroons. Now again, Chicago looking to set their attack, and doing so through Droblos, Katsampoulos, and Johnson on the left side. As you can see, again, we talked about it a little bit before, but the Maroons fullbacks basically level with their forwards right now.
Oh yeah, they want to attack.
This back header towards the byline. Carleton does well to stay on it and ultimately clear it towards midfield. Trying to maintain possession here. Beerley sends it up the right channel. Intercepted by the Maroons, and to answer the other way will be Coe. Coe, the surge of speed, puts it in front of Lick. One-time cross, headed away. Dropped off to Capitosto by Corgi. Droblos, over to Johnson. Droblos again. Capitosto now. Options both direction, goes to his right to Lick. Tries to cut it in. Split his two options. And the Knights were there to clear it back towards midfield. The Maroons maintain possession here. This will be Lick. Capitosto. And back with Droblos. Once again, the Maroons willing to be patient, playing their game here, their possession game. They've been strong on the right side, willing to use the left as well, and here they again drop it towards the left corner. Can't quite save it in. It'll be a Carleton throw.
Yeah, I think Carleton is inviting this pressure and allowing it, playing very deep and sort of allowing, especially those fullbacks, to stay forward.
Which you have to imagine, with as good of a defense as they've had this year, which also the Maroons have had as well, that this has got to be a key part of their game plan, is to sit back, maybe try to get a counterattack, but otherwise somewhat conserve their energy over 90 minutes, especially with the Maroons' firepower to answer between Coe and Lopez.
Yeah, and it seems like a formula that's worked for them this season.
This will be sent over to the left sideline, chested down. And towards the byline, cross, intercepted nicely by Foreman. Good catch by him. Foreman so far hasn't been tested with a really kind of ridiculous save needed on any of them, but he's been sure-handed on everything he's had so far, and really positioned himself perfectly on the probably 4 chances that the Maroons have had pretty directly.
Yeah, he's done very well.
23rd minute, no score. Coe dropping back to receive this. Gets it back from Lick. Cuts toward the right channel and exchanges to the left side. Capitosto now. Approaching towards the top left corner of the box. Cross in. Looks like it's a bit overhit and going to be headed away. But it will be Corgi trying to send it back in, headed away by the Knights again.
Nice.
Lick now ends up with the loose ball. Drops it off to Coe. Buying his time, back to Lick, onto his left foot. Cross in, headed away. Man, the Carleton defense with some firm headers out on every Maroons cross there.
Yeah, and they've had to be.
Throw in. Good positioning there by the defender. Get around his man. And ultimately earn a throw in for the Knights. Neither team with a sub so far, I believe. Over halfway through the first half. The Maroons in particular will go really deep into their bench and do have a deep bench, but also a well-rested team looking to try to get their first score, get on the score sheet, and hopefully set the pace for this game. But Carleton so far proven to be the tough defensive foe that we expected going in. Lick. Corgi. Centers up to Capitosto. Sends it in towards the D. Good long pass. Well handled. Dropped off. Corgi lost it briefly. Lopez out to the left side. Cross in. Lopez tries to shovel it towards the near post. And I believe he picked up a deflection for a corner.
Yep.
Tried to flick it on there, Rish.
Yeah, and that was really, really well done by Lopez to kind of get something out of nothing almost.
Corner for the Maroons. Taken well, curling towards the net, punched out firmly by Foreman. And Corgi doing what he could to try to slide to the ground and keep it in the attacking third. Carleton just able to get it away.
Yeah, that was almost very dangerous for UChicago. But the counterattack was well stopped.
Here now. Nice high lob. Headed back out again. Will be settled down by Matus. Capitosto. Top left corner of the box. Surges down the left edge of the area. Cleared. Partly away to Romero. Drops off, and now the switch for the Maroons toward their right side is Drablos. Step into one towards the far post. Keeper out and winds up on the top of the net.
Wow, what a ball from Drablos. He's really impressed so far with his delivery.
And their Foreman committed to the punch. He had just had a really good one before that and has been so good with when he's chosen to come out or play the ball in there. Might have gotten a piece of it. Probably did, as it was popped straight in the air, but the Maroons just missed by a bit getting on the score sheet today. 27th minute between Chicago and Carleton. No call here. It's going to be sent up by Carleton. Cross in, headed away by the Maroons defense. A second header and then a volley out by Corgi. Every touch vital there for the Maroons.
Yeah, what a great sequence by Drablos there. First the delivery and then the precious intervention.
I believe that was Boschatti actually surging forward, and a foul's going to be called right at the D against Chicago, so an ideal position for this free kick for the Knights. Looks like Boschatti was trying to get free, Rishi, and might have gotten tugged, might have gotten held.
Yep.
A yellow card's been handed out, didn't see to whom. Not exactly clear on who received the yellow, but either way, it's going to be a truly ideal position here for the Knights. Beerley, the one lined up to take this free kick. Four-man wall for Chicago. Looks like they might have another couple who join on. One from the Knights in line with the wall, and Chicago kind of spreading out a couple others alongside it. But even here, Rishi, we can see that the Knights keeping four guys back.
Yeah, pretty conservative.
Shot off the crossbar and off the keeper and in.
Wow.
The Knights take a 1-0 lead.
And that is just brilliant skill from Beerley. Had the dangerous free kick, curled it beautifully, and hit the crossbar and went off the keeper, I believe, and then into the net.
Yeah, Katzimpalis was diving over there to try to cover what he could, as it looked like it might curl into the top corner of the net, ends up going off the crossbar instead, and just a bit of unfortunate luck that it ended up going off him and in.
Yeah, and this is the Carleton game plan. Play deep, don't allow much, and then hopefully counter, score on a set piece, and that's the formula, and it's working so far. They survived that early pressure, those two very dangerous shots right in the opening minutes.
Yeah, and credit to Foreman and the Carleton defense so far for staying so organized. They lead 1-0, 28th minute. Still not quite sure who received the yellow card, who was called for the fouls. This long ball is going to test the Chicago defense as well, and job by Johnson to react to his keeper and ultimately send it out to the sideline. The Maroons subbed off. I saw Romero subbed off. I missed the other one. I think it might have been Corgi. And they've brought on Rourke. Carleton, for its part, is taking off Lanzillo and try to catch who they put on for him as well. 1-0 Knights on Beerley's free kick goal just a minute ago. You know, and yesterday against Transylvania, it was their substitute Whedon who scored from a similar position, though. It was in the run of play, but just with seconds left in the first half, he found himself a little bit of open space and called it from just outside the D into the right side for that 1-0 win. We'll see if Carleton's able to limit the opposing offense quite like they did against Transylvania. It's going to be a tougher task perhaps today against the Maroons, who have such a prolific offense. And here running with some numbers forward. On the right side, it's Coe. Cuts into the channel. Dropped off to Johnson. On the left sideline. Back into Capitosto in the center. Up to Lick. Droblos. Float in towards the penalty spot. Several players there. Winds its way out to the D. Corgi couldn't release a shot. And now Carleton thought about a counterattack, but ultimately going to be slowed up. Some crucial defense, I believe, by Corgi maybe racing back in order to kind of cut it off and slow the Knights up.
Yeah, really crucial intervention there.
Just over 15 minutes to play in the first half. 1-0 Carleton. Be a throw in for the Maroons. Battle for it in midfield. Winds up in Chicago's half, where it will be played by Katzimpalis. Lick back to Droblos. Long switch, trying to settle it was Corgi. Referee swallows his whistle there as the Maroons continue up the left side. Sliding tackle is successful by, I believe, Kelly, the substitute for Carleton. And ultimately, Chicago will get a free kick inside their own half.
Next 14 minutes. If we can get an equalizer,
Spencer Whedon also on for the Knights. Lanzillo was the one who came off. As I mentioned earlier, Whedon the one who scored yesterday's game-winning goal. I believe his third of the season, all game winners. Coe sent over to the left side, missed his mark.
Yeah, just overhit there, but that sequence was really well done up until then from the Maroons. Nice, quick, short passes, and then trying for the switch.
Throw in. Weeks past midfield where Chicago will gain possession. Drabos back over to Johnson. And just out of his reach. Unforced error the Maroons didn't want there. And so sharp out of the defense so far. Here's the throw. Carleton trying to surge forward, trying to quickly spring it. Settle down, left-footed shot, rocketed, padded up, and saved by Katsampalis.
Carleton kind of smelling blood in the water there. Just try to take advantage of that mistake and almost put this game to bed.
I'm not sure if you caught who that was, Rishi, if that was Dacuna or whom, but...
I think that was Beerley again.
Oh, Beerley, yeah, what a well-struck shot from distance. Katsampalis not feeling safe despite the distance, catching it on the first try instead patting it up and securing it after that. 1-0. Carleton leading with just over 12 minutes left to play in the first half. Free kick for Chicago, about 10 yards into the Knights' half. Taken. I believe Coe slipped. Or pardon me, that was Lopez who slipped. Lick now. Corgi. Capitosto. Looking up. Carleton defense making a mistake, leaving it back. Shot with the right foot. Saved. That was Rourke. And now another counterattack coming from Carleton. It's Dacuna to do the work on his own up there, and Chicago defense able to handle it. Headed down. And a foul going to be called against Carleton. Chicago will be able to have their own answer with a free kick just outside their opponent's box.
Yeah, and the sequence before that, that was just a little bit of over-aggression from Carleton that almost cost them. The shot was blocked. But kind of overcommitted there to spring that counter.
Certainly, they have to be feeling more and more confident as this game goes along with their how they've stayed in this game, but that's always the risks that have to stay committed to that plan, stay well organized, and there the Maroons almost able to take advantage.
Ironically, it seems like they've opened up more since scoring the goal instead of bunkering in further.
Here comes the free kick from outside the D for Chicago. Curled over the bar. So 1-0 Knights. 35th minute now. Substitution for the Knights is they'll take off Boshadi and bring on Johnson. Johnson checking into the left side. Chicago defense winds up with it. Looking long forward and early. And out of the reach of Coe by a good yard or two and into the hands of Foreman.
Yeah, maybe need be a little bit more patient there, but Coe certainly has the speed to get on top of those balls.
And we'll say, Rishi, I like that with how patient the Maroons have been at times out of the back. Good every once in a while to test it out. Throw in for Chicago.
All right, 11's coming for them. So for the next Carleton outball.
Looking for receiver here, well headed up. Looks like it's... Try and catch that over there. On the right side, Drabos. Good job by Coe, looking for the overlapping lick. Return to midfield. Coe now around his defender. was able to get the pass away nicely, but drew a foul. And we'll have this free kick about 40 yards up the right sideline. Taken towards the penalty spot, headed on to the far post, but couldn't find its last foot to send it on net.
That was an excellent delivery from Ko, though, and that flick on was very dangerous.
Actually, we've seen how Ko, over the course of this first half, continues to kind of roam throughout the midfield. It's been dropping further and further back at times, but still finding the energy and finding the way to get upfield for some good incisive runs as well.
Yeah, he's been really impressive so far tonight. Trying to do it all, and here he is again.
Ko onto his right foot. Lopez dropping it off for Lick, a bit under hit, but Lick goes strongly into it, stays with it, and now is going to shovel it on and just off sides of Lopez. He was in line there.
Yeah, that was
just been a hair off.
That was a close one.
Just over 7 minutes left to play in the first. 1-0 Carleton. Free kick goal. The difference so far. Chicago defense again, exchanging between their central defenders. Johnson taking some space. Left foot up, chested down, couldn't quite trap it. And now it'll be Holquist surging up. Sent in towards the box, headed away. And ultimately, Chicago will have a throw deep inside Carleton's half. Long pass on the ground, partially cleared. Chicago continuing to push it forward. They'll have another cross in towards the 6, headed away. And Carleton able to get the possession, trying to get out of their own half and under plenty of pressure, but still able to get it to the halfway line, and looked like they were going to have possession, but the referee actually whistled it back all the way inside their own half. Good job by Carleton navigating some pressure. Chicago themselves trying to smell blood in the water, Rishi, just unable to dispossess them there. And offsides on the free kick.
And you can see Chicago tried to restart very quick. Want to get moving quickly and catch them off guard.
Ball up towards Lopez, will be cleared away. Race for it as looked like Katsampalis wasn't quite sure if he was going to be able to see it into the box and pick it up, so he played it with his feet. Pressure relieved, and now the Maroons play a long ball towards Carleton's own area.
Yeah, and that's the sub Freeland, and he's got fresh legs, and he has made a couple aggressive runs since he's come on to try to spring some counters.
Staring on this left side now. Trying to turn with it is Johnson for the Knights, does well. Sent up the left side by Hall. Gonna find Johnson. Kind of shoveled across towards the D. Chicago able to carry it out, and ultimately gonna look to clear it upfield. Contact. There's a man down for Carleton, but Freeland unable to draw the call, and Chicago will be left to play it out of their own half. 1-0 Knights. 4 minutes remaining in the first half. This will be Corgi. Side. This possession along the byline. Chicago continuing to push forward. Have it at the top left corner of the area. Now outside to Capitosto. Lick. Cross towards the penalty spot, headed well away. Maroons keep it in and then cleared firmly away by the defense. And a race for it now inside Chicago's own half. Played down to the goalkeeper, Katsampalis for the Maroons, and Drablos will be able to walk it towards the halfway line.
Really strong defensive header away from Carleton, and that's sort of been the story of this first half, is Chicago knocking on the door, but Carleton doing a great job of relieving the pressure.
Lick trying to cross it, blocked, and will earn a corner. The Maroons have had only one other corner this game.
Yes, Mike just told me.
This will be taken by Coe. Taken low, bounce deflected up. Chicago just trying to get possession here. Will be touched down by Holquist, who loses the ball, and now a race for it. It's a scramble. Capitosto does well to ultimately win it.
Very well. That could have been a disaster for the Maroons.
Holquist now. Touch was too heavy, and ultimately it will be another corner for the Maroons. So still able to get something out of it. We're under 2 minutes left to play here in the first. Millington on for Chicago. So here comes the corner. Curling in dangerously. Pop back up and out for another. These in-swingers have been extremely dangerous so far. Here's another one. Higher taken towards the far post, headed up and away from the net. Carleton the only one there at the far corner. And referee declining to blow his whistle, but Carleton will have a throw-in just inside their own half.
The referee here this first half has largely been letting them play.
Though one of the few calls so far, which ended up with a yellow, and again, we're unsure exactly.
I believe it was Lick, but we will confirm that.
And that was the one that led to the only goal this game. 40 seconds left in the first. Racing on to it is Corgi. Still got a couple guys to beat, and they're able to take it away, send it back up the sideline. Cut off nicely by Lick. Coe sends it long towards the D. Adeason over there. Back towards his defender. Turns with it nicely towards the byline. Defender goes down. He goes stumbling. Still sends it on. Cross, maybe deflected, just out of the reach of Coe. Maroons send it back in. Collision and a foul here with 3 seconds left. The clock will be stopped on that foul, and I believe a free kick for the Maroons just outside the right edge of the area. Player down for the Maroons is Drablos. Might have had some shin-to-shin or knee-to-knee contact there, but certainly wore the worst of it.
I forgot about the 10-second countdown. You guys had to look around.
So Coe will take this one as Drablos is going to get back in. In fact, everyone in for the Maroons except their keeper.
And then hit, after I say 0. Yeah.
Two-man wall.
You guys did that one.
And 2 for Chicago on the goal line, along with the defender and the keeper. Coe runs onto it, strikes it towards the far post, header up, and isn't going to wind in. That'll be the end of the first half. Carleton takes the 1-0 lead and goes into the half just as they did yesterday. This was certainly, Rishi, an exciting half where it looked like the Maroons were the more dangerous team early on. They had their chances, weren't able to bury it in the back of the net. Carleton got their opportunity, and it was really a back and forth and exciting game from there.
Yeah, absolutely. They weathered that initial storm very well, and then they were able to execute their game plan. And then that brilliant bit of skill from Beerley, wonderful shot, unsavable. And Carleton, everything's going exactly to their game plan.
And for them, kind of coming off their first NCAA tournament win since 2008, I believe, they're certainly playing some good NCAA soccer at this point. And for Chicago, they've been here before, but needing to ultimately find their way onto the score sheet here in the second half. It's 1-0. Carleton into the half. We're going to take a break. We'll rejoin you just a couple minutes before the second half with a little bit of prep there. Love to take your emails if you have any. gomaroons@gmail.com is the email address. Any questions, comments, or just to give a shout out, take a look at them during the halftime period and read them as we go into the second half, including any pronunciation corrections or anything like that. We've been really well helped by the SIDs here from both schools. A big shout out to all of them for all the work they've put in, especially when it gets to tournament time, but really all year long. We welcome your input so far, and we'll rejoin you in just a bit. 1-0 Carleton in the half.
When you're in college, you kind of find out who you are. And throughout your 4 years, you develop yourself with all the different experiences, which leads into dedicating yourself to your community, to your family. So when you're a senior, you're coming out a well-rounded person.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests outside of the classroom and outside of the court or field. I've had the ability to get into different activities and organizations, and I've recreated my identity for myself aside from just being an athlete.
Getting to be involved in a lot of different things, ranging from obviously being a student athlete to getting involved with my campus and my community, and not only being allowed to do that, but being encouraged to do that.
The opportunity to be able to study what I wanted to and continue to play the sport I love, to have the professors know me on a personal level, all of those things came together very nicely in one package in Division III.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference. It really helps you develop thinking from other people's perspectives and looking at problems from outside the box.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
I've definitely learned how to really be myself. I found out, yes, I am actually a good leader, and yes, I can actually put myself forward because I am good enough. I can do it.
Coming in to college, I just wanted to get good grades and to do well. But it also made me realize that I have a lot of different career goals, and I've learned so much about myself that I was always like growing and changing.
When I got to college, it forced me to step up and become more of a leader, and I think that was something I had the capability of doing, and forever grateful that being at a Division III school gave me that opportunity.
You have to dedicate your time in the classroom, you have to dedicate your time in the gym, on the field, on the court.
Our coaches and the entirety of the athletic department, they valued the student athlete going out into community and trying something new and getting involved in campus life.
You can get involved in so many different things. So the possibilities are truly limitless for what you can do with your college experience. You can kind of make it your own in the Division III setting. So I would encourage people who want to have flexibility to pursue different interests and passions to go D3.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're back for the second half. 1-0. Carleton leads the University of Chicago here at Stagg Field in the NCAA second round. And I'm Sean Ahmed along with Rishi Chopra. Rishi, really exciting first half here. Carleton able to get the free kick goal kind of midway through. What would you say are the keys kind of for the remaining 45 minutes here?
I would say for the Maroons, what they've probably been talking about in halftime is just be patient, stick to the plan. They had so much of the ball. They had so many good chances. They were a bit unfortunate not to score. And I think that's going to be a similar message in the Carleton side, too, is to stick to their game plan. It worked really well for them. They were able to defend and soak up that pressure, and then when they had their chance, they took it.
And as we saw in that first half, really both teams were at times on the doorstep. Certainly could have been more goals than we wound up with, just the one, and that being a set piece. We'll see what's in store here in the second half. Also want to quickly get to the email we got during the halftime break. GoMaroons@gmail.com is the address. We'd love to make it an interactive broadcast with your questions, comments, and shout-outs. This one came from Daisy Jones. She said she's streaming the game from Davidson, North Carolina. Go Knights. And she wants to give a shout out to William Lanzillo and Mark Roth and Coach John Elwell and Jared Johnson, wherever you are. I love you, William. Thanks, Daisy, for that email. Would love to hear from more of you through the game as we're set for another exciting 45 minutes here in Chicago. It will be Carleton to kick off. Knights send it long to start out the second half here. Sell down by Droblos. Towards midfield, headed on.
Yeah, and they changed.
Cleared back towards the Chicago side.
Holquist goes to right central.
Knights able to settle through Beerley. Cross by Roth. Headed to the far side by Chicago, where they're going to clear it upfield a little bit, and ultimately Corgi ends up getting tripped up for a free kick. But Rishi, we were talking during the halftime break, we didn't see too much of Roth in the first half on the attacking side, and there he gets involved right away here in the second.
Yeah, and you can see why he's their Conference Player of the Year. That was really well executed.
Always love whenever you see an overlapping fullback willing to get involved. Chicago certainly has a couple on their end, and Ross so dangerous for the Knights himself. Pushed up by Corgi. Lopez looked like he was trying to get on the end of it. Corgi's sent it over to the right side, and a good switch by the Maroons to try to find some space under some pressure is Schofield.
Oh, a little bit of a shove there, it looked like, but nothing called.
And Schofield racing to get back, as Carleton will possess in their own half on the right side. Battle for it. And it will be Carleton's ball, as Romero wasn't able to keep it in some tight quarters on the sideline. Oh, it looks like, in fact, he was called for a foul. So Carleton with a free kick out of their own half. They lead 1-0. 48th minute. Romero. Lopez into the middle. A few players have been slipping today on the turf. This time it was Corgi, and ultimately he's going to get a whistle as well. The referee who let kind of the two teams play on a lot in the first half, here in the second has had no choice but to blow his whistle a few times. Here will be started by Capitosto. Long entry pass, broken up by the Knights. Clearing it back towards midfield. Pump back in by Johnson, and the Knights trying to carry out great firm block. And another tackle here by the Maroons. I believe the first one was by Matus, and the second one was by Capitosto.
And it looks like Capitosto took some kind of knock there, but we play on.
Chicago cutting it in towards the right channel. Nice switch to the left side. The last possible second to Schofield. Has to drop it back to Capitosto. Looking no worse for the wear right now. Holquist, who seems to be occupying the spot that Droblos was in, and we know that Droblos ended up taking a pretty kind of severe collision late in the first half, Rishi, but he was so vital to that team on both ends.
Really impressive, and he was sort of favoring that right knee, so we'll see if he gets back into this game or if he might not be able to come back.
Few headers up inside the Carleton area. Nothing really advancing too dangerously in so far, and this ball is going to wind out for a Carleton throw pinned deep inside their own half. Good long throw. Does wind up with Capitosto. Holquist. We'll receive it back here. Distribute over to Johnson. Schofield and Johnson exchanging. Up to Romero. Flicked on nicely to Schofield, who runs up the left side. Capitosto receives it a little further back on the sideline. Johnson again. Hard turn. Left-footed ball across the face of the net. Open shot. Slotted on. Shot and saved, and it's going to ultimately be cleared away. Wow, Rishi. The first entry cross went all across the face of the net, and then on the other end, the Maroons attacker settled it down, took a second, didn't see the open look, ended up sending it back on, and the Maroons unable to find their scoring opportunity.
Yep, fizzed in, very dangerous. Maroons unlucky to not find a foot on the end of that one, but that's exactly what they want to do. They want to stick to this game plan, and they know they'll be able to create chances like that.
And this time, Schofield, really a big part of the danger on that left side. We'll see how active he continues to be as the second half winds along. 1-0 Carleton, 51st minute. Johnson passes it straight up, dropped off to Schofield on the left side. Johnson again. Picks up a deflection, winds up in Carleton's half, but the Knights able to pick it up. Beerley. Long pass towards the D, handled by Johnson. Coe. And the Maroons continue up that right channel. Now, back to the left of center. Romero dropping it off. Schofield on the left side. Corgi. Back into the central defense with Holquist. Capitosto receives now in the middle. Racing forward, splits a couple defenders with the through ball. And good diving block by Coling for Carleton to prevent that continuing on.
Yeah, really great surging run from Capitosto there.
Cleared away by the Knights. Chicago. Long entry, and Foreman up to catch it. Just a bit over hit, but actually required a little bit of a readjustment by Foreman as well.
Yeah, that was one of those cross shots that if it went in, they'll say he meant it.
53rd minute. 1-0. Knights lead it over the Maroons. And Carleton will advance and get another throw in here. That was DeCuna going all the way back into his midfield. Hall dropped it back. The defense kicks it long. Hall here. Entry is blocked. Winds up back with him. Can't quite find Beerley. But Beerley continuing to fight on for it. Chicago will pick up the foul. Started on the ground quickly, over to the right side with Holquist. Right back surging in. Corgi tried to chip it on forward, was blocked. Now on the left side, Schofield. Corgi looking for Romero. Dispossessed of it, and will be a Chicago throw just inside the Carleton half.
No, it looks like he's called a no.
Just maybe needed a little precision on the throw.
Yeah.
In the spot of the throw. Capitosto circling every which way. Corgi over to Schofield. Romero lost it, spun around, and surging forward are the Knights. It's Roth, the right back. He's so dangerous on the offensive end. The Maroons able to catch up with him and execute a team tackle to get the ball back.
Yeah, there you see the skill of Roth on display. Just a brilliant tackle and then off in a flash.
Chicago starts it and they use the right side. Now look to the left. Johnson up to Schofield, met immediately by the defender. Back to Johnson. Played long and early and no one there for Chicago.
Yeah, and that's going to happen, especially when you possess this much of the ball. The important thing for the Maroons is to not get frustrated.
Certainly so far, you have to imagine, Rishi, that one of the more frustrating parts has been just the Carleton defense, which has proved to be formidable so far, especially in the final third.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've done a great job of winning so many balls in the air. They're really strong, clearing those headers, and that sequence of set pieces, those corners at the end of the first half, they defended very well.
Yeah, it wasn't for lack of some good deliveries there, that's for sure. This free kick's going to be taken long into the Maroons box, headed away by Schofield. Drop back in by Carleton. Shot is going to require a save from Katzimpalis. Ball was sent in by Lenzillo. Battle for it in midfield, and Chicago will be called for a trip. I believe it was Matus who drew the whistle. Just over 33 minutes remaining in the second half. 1-0 Knights. Taken by Roth. Flat delivery. Headed back toward him. We'll drop it off to Hall. Tries to cut it in. Met easily by the Maroons' Holquist. Wasn't quite sure what to do with it. Forced to scramble. Ended up losing it. Now a race for it by the Maroons' own corner. Referee letting him play on as he has all game, and Chicago starting to get away. In fact, will get a throw and quickly get it back in to try to get their way back to midfield. Not for some lack of required effort here.
And Hulk's kind of caught in between there, able to survive. But that's another thing that Carleton has done really well, is any sign of a mistake, and they've been ready to pounce.
Headed into the void. Chicago spreading along the left side. Schofield looking for Romero, has to get the deflection back. looks to the referee for a call and did in fact get it.
And there was Roth again, almost springing another attack, swooping in.
Chicago starts it on the ground. Holquist taking the space in front of him. The pass was dropped back and Holquist was surging forward, so no one there for Chicago to get on the end of it. Carleton will look to spring it the other way. Hall over to the right side. Back heeled from Lenzillo. Intercepted by the Maroons, and they draw a throw. '59th minute, 1-0 Carleton. Now Chicago springing it with a couple passes up the left wing. Knights onto it. Cleared only so far as Schofield. Corgi switches it to the right side. Holquist now in center defense. Johnson finds Schofield. Cuts it in towards the corner of the area, I should say, and cleared away for a Maroons throw. Schofield proving to be a key part of the second half attack for the Maroons. Maroons couldn't quite trap it down inside the area. Carleton able to clear it away. Fully on the second go.
Yeah, a bit disjointed from the Maroons here, and you wonder if so much of that good distribution from Droblos is just missed a little bit. And as they try to work it down another channel, it's just not coming together.
Well, here Holquist forced to pull off some excellent 1v1 defense there to prevent the surging attacker from getting to the byline. Carleton will maintain possession now at midfield. Roth. Long ball straight up. Might have been a handball missed on the deflection. Chicago winds up with it. Romero in a tight exchange of passes with Lopez. Ultimately a throw-in. Lopez. Drop it back to the thrower, Schofield. Matus. Corgi. Capitosto. Trying to spin with it. He goes down. Wasn't sure if he had tripped on the ball or not, but he said to have been pushed, and Chicago starts the free kick quickly on the ground. That block is going to wind up a goal kick.
This second half playing out a lot more open and stretched than I would have imagined, and definitely from the first half.
Julie McKeon checks in. A cheering aunt says, "Go Carleton Knights." And Mark Roth, watching from Austin, Texas. Thanks so much for your email. GoMaroons@gmail.com. Questions, comments, just to give a shout out. Would love to hear from you. Fun part this time of year. It's just all the people listening and watching really from around the country, if not oftentimes from around the world, because these schools draw kids from all over. So I'd love to hear from you. A really exciting match here. The second half, as Rishi, you've said, more disjointed than the first, to be sure. And right now we have an injury to a Carleton Knight that's causing a stoppage in the game. But certainly for the Maroons, they haven't had the same amount of chances they maybe did in the first. You mentioned how Droblos was so key to the distribution in the first half. He got hurt at the end of it. Isn't playing so far here in the second. But ultimately, what do you see as kind of key players that the Maroons can use to kind of get their footing back in this?
Well, we definitely saw Matthew Coe being like a dynamo in the first half, and not much so far here for him at all. And especially down this left-hand side, Mark Roth has been really, really impressive in the second half, and he's sprung a couple counterattacks as well. And it looks like the Maroons are trying to play in like these really tight spaces on the left-hand touchline here, and not able to generate much from that. Just sort of running into traffic and trying to dribble their way out of really tight spaces.
Do you think, in the first half you were complimenting how well they were to switch into space? Maybe in the second half they've wound their way a little bit too pinned against this left sideline?
Yeah, absolutely. They haven't had as much success switching the ball at all.
The player who was hurt for Carleton was Pearson. He was looked at and just ran back onto the field, where he'll return into the defense. We're about to start the 63rd minute of the game. 1-0 Carleton. Holquist racing up that right channel. Tried to push it forward. Chicago continuing to battle for it, but a whistle blown. It'll be a foul against the Maroons.
Yeah, one of the big strengths of this Maroons team is that balanced attack and the way they're able to penetrate from both sides, and that's not something that Carleton has allowed them to do in the second half.
The Knights now in the right channel. Attempting to turn with it is Beerley. Receives it back, settles it down nicely. Chicago comes in to take it. Matus again, taking the shoulder charge, and Chicago's defense at least able to send it back into the Carleton half. And looks like the Maroons picked up a foul here. That will be placed about 45 yards away from net, just in the right channel. It's going to be taken by Coe. Chicago with a 7th attacker, I believe, getting in toward the box, headed up and wide. It'll be a goal kick.
Great ball, though.
Substitutions for the Maroons on will be Millington and looks like we'll also, let's see.
And Adeason, I believe.
Yep, Adeason, thank you. And coming off will be Matus and Romero.
The next Carleton football.
Chicago on the right side. Off the corner of the area, down to the byline, nice cross in, keeper down, headed up, and it will go out for a corner.
And that's just brilliant last-ditch defending there. He had to get to that, and he did.
So here comes the corner for Chicago. An outswinger, headed down by Carleton and just out of the box, stepping in, shot is going to curl wide of the right post.
Maybe a chance to possess the ball there a bit for the Maroons and set something up. That was always going to be an incredibly tough chance from there.
Yeah, Schofield struck it well, but still wound up wide by a few yards. Throw in for the Maroons. Just under 25 minutes left to play in the second half, 1-0. Chicago coming off a bye yesterday, ranked 3rd in the nation in the latest poll. Final Four team last year. Carleton proving to be a very formidable opponent today, coming off a 1-0 win yesterday, which was their first tournament win in a decade. making the most of a free kick opportunity in the first half, and ultimately a really organized effort for the most part so far. Adeason picks up a foul on the run up the middle, and Chicago with a dangerous opportunity here, 30 yards out, dead center. This one will be taken by none other than Coe. Four-man wall for Carleton. Most of the options to the right, a couple to the left. Taken and kicked into Rosie.
Pretty ambitious effort from that distance.
Foreman now to take the goal kick. Rishi, to talk about Foreman's effort so far. He made the crucial saves he needed to in the first half. A lot of reaction saves, as you were talking about earlier. How key has his performance been today for you?
Yeah, he's been great. And another thing that he's done really well is he's been able to catch the ball instead of punching and allowing those kind of either more corners or just really messy situations in the box. He's really commanded his area well.
Yeah, it seemed like he went to the punch a couple times in kind of key points, but otherwise it's been sure-handed. Because Chicago, with all its speed up top, certainly could take advantage of any loose ball opportunities in front of the net, you would think. 22 minutes remaining here in the second. 1-0 Knights. Whistle blown. Handball. Chicago looking to start. It'll be started amongst the defense. Johnson returning it back towards Holquist. Straight up. Adeason. Defender goes down, continues on, barrels into the last line of defense, and Carleton trying to run their way out of it. Capitosto, a lot of space over on that right side. He's going to take advantage of it. We'll see if the Maroons can find something going on the right side. In fact, it'll be taken into the center. Dropped off to Capitosto again. Cut in. Blocked away. Chicago defense surging forward. It's Lopez shoveling on. Adeason. Shot to the near post. Saved, and I believe off the post as well. Will be a corner kick for the Maroons.
Yeah, and since he's come on, Adeason has been a breath of fresh air for UChicago. A couple of really incisive runs in that shot there.
He'll take the corner, under hit, winds up back with Adeason. Takes a touch, crosses it in, again hit low, and it'll be cleared as far as Capitosto. Taken by Holquist, draws the keeper, punched away, well punched, and cleared away by the Knights. They're going to try a counterattack here. In fact, weren't able to quite get it cleanly going, though they still have the ball in the Maroons' half and a runner up there with them. Adeason switching over to Holquist. Chicago able to ward off that quick counterattack that didn't quite get going for Carleton, but seemed on the verge of it for a few seconds there. This switch is going to be overhit, but a great job by Johnson under no pressure to run onto it. Lobbed up, headed away, just outside of the box. Chicago again. Coe racing down the right edge of the area, cross, headed, wide.
Great work by Coe. Able to shield that ball and then get off a really nice cross that was headed just wide.
Johnson will check in for the Knights. Looks like he's going to come on for Bashotti. Check in at left mid.
5 minutes.
Just 19 minutes remaining here. 1-0 Carleton. fantastic game and a well-played game here at Stagg Field today by both sides.
Yeah, this has been a really fun one to watch.
Dropped back to Holquist. It feels like, Rishi, both these teams have shown good kind of defensive and offensive talent, good speed, good organization. It's kind of two pretty well-balanced sides, even though in a lot of ways their biggest strengths have been their defenses.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that's impressed me about Chicago is just when they lose possession, how quickly they get it back.
Shot is saved by Foreman. Maroons were trying to get some space and get free off the top right corner of the area, and finally they would set a shot up, but Foreman on the spot again, and he'll punt it maybe a bit higher than he intended. Carleton able to initially win it, and Chicago takes it back. Holquist looking long up the left side, wanted Adeason, headed back by Roth. Adeason now traps it well with his chest and pushes it along. Corgi over to Capitosto. Here we go, Coe turning, trying to free himself. Inside the right edge of the area. And blocked with his shot. Goes tumbling down, ball cleared. And a race for it inside the Maroons' half. Great job by the defender to stop on it and turn up the sideline.
Yeah, and that's what the Maroons want to see more of, is get the ball into Coe, and then he's so skillful, able to turn and run.
It does feel right now like the Maroons are going to have their answer. It's going to be with him involved. Adeason running laterally. Drops it back. Holquist to Johnson. Capitosto. Chicago now up, dummied on towards the D. Coe looking to turn with it, takes it out to the left corner. Cuts it in towards the near post, and it will cut out of play, and I believe for a corner. Must have picked up a deflection on the spot.
Yeah, and that was such good work to keep that ball in play and create this opportunity.
And in fact, it was a foul that was called by the referee. Either way, pretty similar opportunity here. This free kick will be taken in that left wing, about 10 yards up from the byline. Taken towards the six, headed wide.
Wow. Great ball, just a bit too strong on the header.
Unsurprisingly, Chicago at this point putting as many men as they can forward. They just had two back, and they were well inside the Carleton half, certainly seeking the equalizer with any free kick opportunity they'll have here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see here with about 15 minutes remaining if now Carleton will really go into bunkering down and just holding on to what they have.
15 and a half minutes remaining, 1-0. Carleton leads. Adeason kind of switching over to that right side. Maroons have brought on a new target man, Millington, up there. Carleton carrying it out of their own half under some pressure. Sent long. Chicago defense with an easy corral. Holquist up to Romero. Romero couldn't quite get a handle on it at any point. And that's going to be clear foul right in front of us by Schofield. Just wasn't able to get a piece of the ball. So 14 and a half minutes left, 1-0. Thanks for all your emails so far, gomaroons@gmail.com. Get to those in just a second here. Shoveled on by Carleton, no one on the end of it, and it will wind up with Katzimpalis for the Maroons.
Yeah, a pretty conservative attack there from the Knights, leaving 4 men back, content to play it safe.
Yeah. Katsampalis, for his part, hasn't really had much to do for the last 10 minutes or so, it seemed. Carleton working with this 1-goal lead. Long ball played up the right sideline. Will be kept in. Cross winds up high towards the 6, header up and out by the Knights. A second one. Adeason trying to chest it down. Maroons able to keep the possession. Capitosto pops it in. Headed up. Won by Chicago, but no one on the end of it, and a firm clearance by the Knights. And here, a little bit of dicey work in the defense with Dacuna working, but Chicago able to use a trio of players to get it away. Racing in, dropped in, shot was blocked en route. The goalkeeper Foreman was down. It's a corner for the Maroons.
That was a brilliant sequence from the Maroons, and that seemed to catch Carleton off guard. Maybe getting a little tired, allowing a little bit more of those incisive runs.
Corner taken. Bent too much towards the D, cleared away, but sent back in towards the 6, headed down. Couldn't get to the Maroons attacker on the far post, and the Knights able to see it towards the halfway line. Lopez is going to be tackled hard. The Carleton bench here thought the ball had been won. The referee ended up calling it a foul, and it will be Code to take this free kick 30 yards up in the left channel. Curled in, cleared away. Adeason receiving the long ball on the left side. Dribbling in. Shot towards the far post. Goal! What work by Adeason.
Wow, and he's been so good since he's come on for the Maroons here, and he's been calling for the ball on that left-hand side, and he exploited that space and curled that shot in beautifully. I don't think there's anything Foreman could do about that.
He must have been screened on the way, too. There was plenty of traffic in between him. In fact, Adeason, I don't know how you felt, Rishi. We have a great view from here, but he saw more daylight than I did on that shot.
Yeah. I mean, just extraordinary skill to curl it in like that.
So the Maroons equalize in the 79th minute. What a game we have here today between these two teams. Really, on that goal, took a lot of outstanding individual effort to finally break down this Carleton defense. 11 minutes left. Of course, if we go to overtime, it's golden goal for up to 2 10-minute periods.
It's a different goal because that was more in the air, but it was a similar scenario. It's like he has one angle.
Ball played up the right side. Good defense by Schofield to block it.
Yeah, this still, I mean, Carleton's going for this goal too. I mean, they're not going to sit back. They're going for it too. So, defense has to.
Collision along the sideline. Referee plays advantage. Lopez stuffed. Continuing on is Ruben. Dacuna. Switched over to the right side. In some space is Lanzillo. He's got one defender to beat. Plays on his left foot. Shot was blocked. Man on Hall. Races forward. Adeason continuing with him. And Maroons stuff an opportunity again on the left edge of the area. 10 minutes left to play.
Yeah, now we'll really see this game open up, and we saw it already. Carleton does not want to go into extra time. It doesn't seem.
Thanks to Chris Diamato, who says, "Go Mark Roth from Wildcat Nation," up in Evanston. Adeason receiving the ball long down the left side, actually cut off before he could get on the end of it. Carleton still has to get it out of their own half. Headed well up by the Maroons defense, settled by Capitosto and Holquist. Defender preventing him from switching it to that left side, so he goes straight up the channel. Loose ball, picked up by Coe. Adeason. Two defenders, back heels the pass to Schofield. He's now got one himself. Cross towards the far edge of the 6. Deflected away. Good patience there, Rishi, by Maroons attackers on the left side.
Yeah,
got a pretty good cross in.
Yeah, and that was a dangerous ball, and Luis Lopez just got turned around a bit as he was trying to head that ball in.
So we have a substitution with Bosciati off, or pardon me, Bosciati coming on. It's Johnson will come off. Thanks to Lynn Boss. Shout out to Tarek Bosciati. Perfect timing. Proud mom watching from New Mexico. Great game, I believe, she says. Matthias Tomasino says, "My prediction is that Renato Corgi gets a loose ball on the top of the box and scores it. Go Maroons." And have a couple more emails we'll get to in a bit. GoMaroons@gmail.com. 8 minutes remaining in the second half. Game tied at 1. Thrilling stuff. At times truly end to end. Otherwise just a battle throughout the field. This is going to be for Coe. Had some room. Sent it forward. Stopped. Capitosto to Coe, switch to the left side to Schofield. Adeason wants to take it to the byline. Defender stays with him. He goes down through no illegal contact, and it will be a corner for Chicago. So Roth was on his man, just with some bad luck there, kind of slipped, yielded a corner to the Chicago. Adeason cuts in with his right foot. Headed over the bar.
Wow. That was a brilliant near post delivery, and this Adeason Roth matchup has been very entertaining.
.650 remaining, 1-1. Beerley, the goal scorer, on the free kick for Carleton midway through the first half, just outside the D. And Adeason for Chicago with some moments of brilliance, cutting into the left edge of the area and curling it into the right post with his right foot.
Yeah, both goals in this game, absolutely brilliant.
Ball at midfield, got over the Chicago defender, and a push maybe called. In fact, it will be. Capitosto. Taking 15, 20, 25 yards. Left-footed pass blocked. Carleton now with the counterattack, and they have 3-on-3 going forward. A couple Maroons lurking in. Roth, he's been dangerous so far, cuts it into the edge of the area, and his shot will be blocked for a corner kick. That might have been the best set of numbers Carleton's had this game on any single counterattack.
Oh yeah, they could sense the win here, and I think that this, correct me if I'm wrong, is this their first corner of the game?
You may be right. I can't recall another. It is Roth to take it. Floated nicely towards the far post. In fact, it looks like went off the goalpost, meaning it was out of play. Tried to kind of float it and test Katzimpalis for the Maroons with a high one. 5 minutes remaining. Tied at 1. Adeason checks off. Really excellent. I don't know if it was 20, 25 minutes for him.
Yeah, he really made an impact.
Rourke's on for Chicago.
It was Millington, not Adeosun that came off.
Oh, thank you. Millington actually was the one off. Correct, I appreciate that. Adeoson's actually working in the center right now up top. Rourke receives it back. So now to the right edge of the area, cross to the near post, covered by Foreman.
Yeah, and there's the sub getting involved right away. Really nice job playing that 1-2, and then again another confident catch from Foreman.
4 minutes remaining in the second. Adeosun. Rourke didn't quite have his balance, lost it. Roth couldn't quite carry it forward as he went surging up the right channel. You knew that would be dangerous if he could. Coe finds Adeosun in plenty of space. Carleton well organized in the box, however. Cross is blocked for a throw. The 1-2 was under hit, but a great job by Schofield to stay with it. Sent in, headed away by Roth. Just over 3 minutes left now. Carleton throw. That's called back to the Knights instead of the Maroons. And another Carleton throw.
It's definitely getting a bit chippy here at the end of this game. Really crunching collisions.
Roth now. Good job dishing it just as he met his defender. Carleton now looking to use the left side. Chicago has numbers back.
Watch the numbers.
Cross is going to be an easy catch for Katsampalis. Two and a half minutes remaining. 1-1.
Remind me of 1 minute. 1 minute. So I just went 1 minute. Okay. I really can't miss the 10 second count off like that. Okay.
Schofield. Johnson. And Holquist. He's been using that channel a lot. Carleton, as they did in the first half, allowing the Maroons defenders to run up with the ball, but usually meeting them about 30 yards out, 40 yards out. Sliding cross in, easily handled by the Knights. Chicago with another go. Just under 2 minutes remaining. Johnson to Schofield, back to Johnson. Called for on the right side. Corgi. And now received by Holquist. Johnson. 1.5 minutes left. The Maroons perhaps happy to take a little bit of time on the clock, but trying to get their last opportunity or two. Set up here, cross in, bicycle, shot, goal!
Wow.
The Maroons take the 2-1 lead with 80 seconds remaining.
Wow.
Goal by 24, Kyle Rourke, assisted by...
Rourke was the one who came surging in.
There we go, good job.
The cross was initially missed by the bicycle attempt by, I believe, Adeosun. And then Rourke was there to meet it firmly. No chance for the keeper Foreman.
Yeah, that was almost absolutely spectacular with the bicycle kick, but able to be cleaned up. And what drama here at Stackfield.
Still 70 seconds remaining, and for Carleton will be perhaps the first time this game they have to truly push forward in earnest, and they certainly will.
1 minute remaining.
For the Maroons, having to stay back themselves. 55 seconds remaining now. 2-1 Chicago on the goal by Rourke. There have been no cheapies here today.
Yeah,
at
every
Stag
single
Field.
one.
Carleton needing to get it forward. 35 seconds. This is going to be intercepted by the Maroons. Up the left side. Dished off. Collision. between Rourke and the defender. Carleton continues on. Chicago does have 5 defenders back, sent in towards their target. Roth, shot, picked up a deflection and was cleaned up by Katzimpalis. Good job by him to read the spin on it, though I believe it was going wide of the net regardless. 10 seconds left, and that's going to be the last opportunity of the game, it appears.
4, 3.
The Maroons
1.
come back to win it 2-1 in a brilliant second-round match between 2 outstanding teams here at Stagg Field.
Yeah, what a game. What a game. 3 brilliant goals, end-to-end stuff. Great skill on display from both teams. Really, really fun to watch.
I have to say, when early on you saw kind of how the game was, it was so hard to find the back of the net, especially the Maroons were finding their opportunities. You had no idea which way this game was going to go. Certainly, it seemed like something where, Carleton looked like they weren't going to yield a goal. It took Adeason's brilliance in order to break things open, and at the end, same thing with just kind of over a minute remaining, as the Maroons will go on to the third round of the tournament, the sectionals, which will be played next weekend. I imagine a good chance that they end up hosting here, as they received the first round bye, top team in the region, and like last year, could be hosting again. So, brilliant stuff. Rishi, any closing comments here from what you saw in this 2-1 win for the Maroons?
Yeah, just a wonderful game, really well contested by both sides. It was a really interesting contrast in styles, and we saw how both could work, and both teams had their tactics, their strategy, and ultimately the Maroons prevailed, but really, really wonderful to see that unfold.
Thanks to everyone for their emails today. Sorry we couldn't get to all of them as we wind things up. Really appreciate them. Things got quite exciting there at the end, but glad you were able to check in, and just a great show of support from all the Carleton fans on the broadcast and here as well. And as they their season ends, but seriously with one of the more impressive efforts we've really seen.
Absolutely.
So thanks to everyone for your emails today. 2-1 the Maroons win. We'll catch you next week, should the Maroons host, or otherwise be cheering along with you for the rest of the postseason here for the Chicago Maroons men's soccer team. Thanks to everyone for their help. He's Rishi Chopra. I'm Sean Ahmed. So long, everybody.